K-pop. You know the image, right? Dazzling performances, choreography that's almost impossibly in sync, and idols who seem like the very definition of perfection. Every smile, every wave, every single word feels like it's part of this carefully built image. But what happens when that image, that whole facade, just shatters? Well, that's what we're digging into today. What happens when the cracks start to show, revealing a reality that is anything but perfect?
Just listen to that quote, electric needles. That's from a veteran stylist, someone with 15 years in the business, describing a 20-minute encounter with a top idol that she literally called hell. This wasn't just some small disagreement. No, this was an expose that blew the perfect idol illusion wide open, and it showed us a much, much darker side to the pressures of fame.
So, to really get why these scandals are so explosive, you have to understand the illusion itself. I mean, these idols are under constant, unbelievable pressure to be perfect role models, to be flawless, to be everything their fans and their companies demand 24/7. But trying to keep that mask of perfection on all the time, that is a heavy, heavy burden to carry.
And back in October 2020, that burden became a huge public spectacle. The idol at the center of it all was Irene, the leader of the massively popular group Red Velvet. The stylist, Kong Kukwa, posted this detailed story about being verbally attacked by an unnamed celebrity. But, and this is the key part, she included two hashtags, #psycho and #monster. And for K-pop fans, that was all they needed. They knew exactly who she was talking about.
And this is where the story just gets so jarring. On one hand, you've got Irene's public image. She's the it girl, the cool, collected leader, the face of huge brands like Prada. But then on the other hand, you have these shocking allegations from staff, verbal attacks, inhumane behavior, words that stung like electric needles, and an idol who apparently made a seasoned professional break down in tears. I mean, the contrast is just mind-blowing. So that first post, that was just the tip of the iceberg. As the whole thing exploded online, other anonymous industry insiders started speaking up. One person claimed they saw Irene push a stylist's forehead. Another remembered a time when Irene lost her balance and grabbed a stylist's hair while cursing. There were even stories about staff being so scared of her that they'd turn pale if they were the ones who had to go wake her up. Eventually, Irene did post a public apology, confirming she was the idol in question and admitting to her foolish attitude and careless words. Now, Irene's case was definitely shocking, but it's not unique, not by a long shot. Similar stories have come out about other idols over the years. Take Kang Sung-hoon from the legendary group Sexkeys. He was caught on video telling his own fans that today's idols are freaking ugly and have dirty skin. This kind of pattern, this total disconnect between the public face and private behavior, actually has a name in the industry. Okay, so we've seen the symptoms, right? The scandals, the arrogance. But what's the actual diagnosis here? Well, people inside the industry call it celebrity disease. It's basically what happens when fame and constant praise go straight to someone's head. And this definition comes straight from an idol, Mir from the group MBLAQ. He explained that this disease is actually pretty common, especially in celebrities who aren't quite at the very top, but they feel like their status has been boosted. They start to honestly believe that nothing can happen without them, that the whole world just revolves around their needs. And Mir even broke it down into symptoms you can actually see. First, they stop greeting people properly, which in Korean culture is a huge sign of disrespect. Then, the entitlement kicks in. He told this crazy story about an idol who demanded an entire floor of a super busy hair salon be cleared out just for them because they were tired. And finally, they start looking down on their peers, like another artist who asked Mir why he was wasting his time on useless variety shows, pretty much saying that real artists were above all that. And wow, this quote just nails the mindset perfectly. It's from the soloist Somi, who was really open about catching a case of celebrity disease herself after she debuted with the group IOI. She explained that you get so used to people taking care of everything for you that the line between politely asking for help and just straight up demanding things gets completely blurry. She said she didn't even realize how much her attitude had changed until she heard rumors that she wasn't bowing to people anymore. So, it's easy to point fingers and blame individual idols for their bad behavior, but we have to ask the bigger question. Is this really just about a few bad apples? Or is there something about the K-pop industry itself, The power dynamics, the money involved, the whole system that creates these idols that actually helps this kind of attitude grow? And that question really pushes us to look beyond just one or two scandals and instead look at the entire environment these trainees and idols are in, right from day one. Because this pressure, this whole mindset, it doesn't just pop up after they debut. It is baked into the very process of becoming an idol in the first place.
I mean, just look at our recent example, the survival show Boys Planet 2. Even before it aired, there were rumors about a trainee who was so favored by his company that he acted like he owned the place, apparently earning the nickname King of B Entertainment. Then the show starts, and you have judges being criticized for shaming contestants. One even told a trainee, "I felt your old age through both your performance and your visuals." On top of all that, you have tensions flaring up between Korean and Chinese trainees over language. It just creates this hostile, high-stakes world where being kind can actually look like a weakness. And you have to understand, these toxic dynamics don't just magically disappear once a group finally debuts. Oh no. In fact, they can fester under the surface for years and lead to some really devastating consequences. When you mix entitlement and jealousy with the intense pressure of being in an idol group, it can become a total recipe for disaster, something one of K-pop's earliest groups learned the hard way. Okay, let's just walk through this timeline because it's a truly dramatic story of a group completely falling apart. It all starts in 1998, the group Sharp debuts, and one member, Seo Ji-young, has a very influential family backing them. When a super talented vocalist, Lee Ji-hae, joins, that's when jealousy apparently kicks in. For the next few years, from 99 to 01, Lee Ji-hae is allegedly isolated and bullied. And then, just look at how fast things fall apart. In October of 2002, on the 8th, there's a physical fight. The very next day, Seo Ji-young's mother allegedly gets involved and assaults Lee Ji-hae, and just a week later, on October 15th, it is all over. A massive tell-all press conference, and the group officially disbands. It's one of K-pop's first and most dramatic cautionary tales.
So where does all of this leave us? We've got this immense pressure to be perfect, we've got this celebrity disease that can take root, and we've got a system that sometimes seems to encourage toxicity from the very start. So what's the real cost? What is the price of manufacturing this perfect illusion? This quote from BM of the group card really just hits the nail on the head. He's laying out a simple truth. The staff see everything. The hairstylists, the managers, the camera crew, they're the silent witnesses to an idol's real character. They're the ones who know what's really going on when the cameras stop rolling. And as the Irene scandal proved, their voices can be incredibly, incredibly powerful. When you get right down to it, the perfect K-pop idol is a product. It's an image, meticulously built by companies and fiercely protected by fans. But here's the paradox. That relentless, crushing pressure to maintain the flawless exterior, it can become the perfect breeding ground for the very behaviors, the arrogance, the entitlement, the cruelty that threaten to bring the whole thing crashing down. And that brings us to our final question. When you have a multi-billion-dollar industry that is built on selling an ideal of human perfection that nobody can actually achieve, are these shocking cracks in the facade not just possible, but completely inevitable? Is the occasional brutal reality check simply the price you have to pay for an industry built on a fantasy? It's definitely something to think about.